What's up guys, I'm Phoenix Master 1 and we're gonna be getting Years Female Kana as the free Tempest Trial reward, and she's a blue infantry dragon this time. She doesn't really have a preferred weapon but comes with a pretty nice inedible breath and new Sunstone Plus. So this has got an easy HP check and you're gonna be able to get +4 to all of your stats in the combat, and you also inflict guard effect on the foe in the combat. So guard effect can be nice defensively, and the reason why this is a really good weapon is because you can get 15% flat damage reduction based on her attack on foes' first attacks, including the brave hits. So getting the flat damage reduction on an inhittable weapon is really good because it's not pierceable damage reduction. The regular damage reduction, which is relative and percentage based, is going to be pierceable by stuff like Deadeye, Lethality, and all of these skills that we have got nowadays. But flat damage reduction is not pierceable, and we have seen this before with units like Brave Dimitri, Asker, Duo Asker and stuff like that. And flat damage reduction can especially be really strong when you combine it with the regular damage reduction from skills like Dragon Wall, Counter Roar, Speed Smoke 4, and any kind of dodge damage reduction, because it is going to be counted first, and then the flat damage reduction is going to be applied on the remaining damage. The flat damage reduction you get is only going to be there for the first attack of the foes, and it's not going to be there if you take a follow-up attack. So it's in her best interest to stack up her speed so that she doesn't really get followed up by many of the foes that are also going to be really fast in the modern times. And if she's going to be taking any kind of brave hits, then the damage reduction is also going to be applied on the brave hit. So overall this is a pretty nice inhittable breath, and it does mean that you don't really have to go out of your way to give her an arcane weapon, and this can certainly work on a budget. She also has Dragon's Ire 3 at 5-star, and this is essentially going to be a better quick riposte for the dragons because it has better HP threshold than quick riposte 3, and it also has half version of null follow-up built in, the offensive half. So it allows you to bypass the effects that may stop your follow-up attacks, like the impact skills for example. So having it is going to be good in the Grail pool, and this can help you fodder off your Halloween male Korin if you're going to be foddering him for the tier 4 version of Dragon's Ire, and also for Distant Stance at the same time. So it's mostly useful as a bridge fodder because Years Female Kana is going to be pretty fast with that base 45 speed. It also has a super boon, so that is going to be the first choice to pick up if you're going to be spending trade fruits on her. And if you're going to be ascending an asset, then you could either pick between her attack or her resistance, depending on the build that you're going to be running. She has also got Glimmer and Drive Resistance, which are not the greatest fodder, but still, it's good to have Glimmer on her base kit because it's a pretty nice special for her, especially because of the adaptive damage of the Dragon Breaths. And she can be compared to the other free-to-play blue infantry dragons, and it's been a long time since we have gotten a blue infantry dragon ever since male Kana, so easily she's going to be better than him, and she's going to be having a lot more attack than any kind of other Grail dragon. Even if you compare Nils, at the end of the day he's going to be suffering the penalty of being a refresher, while Kana is a Gen 8 infantry unit. And you can even compare her to the summonable blue infantry dragons that we have got. She's going to be having more offenses but doesn't really have the HP of these dragons, which is something that would have been really helpful for her for tanking. But still, having these kinds of offenses on a free-to-play unit is pretty good, and all in all she's a really wonderful free-to-play unit who can function in competitive game modes like Arena and also function in any kind of in-game content. She's a modern dragon with a lot of options, as you'll see, and even if you're not going to be using her, she does provide some good fodder in Dragon's Ire 3 and also her breath in new Sunstone Plus. So even though this cannot really evolve your unit, at least it can power them up. It is going to be a nice option to be run on many of the high attack dragons because it does scale off the flat damage based on the attack. So on these kinds of high attack dragons, they're going to be able to get some flat damage reduction, which can be really good, especially on many of the armor dragons, as you can try and combo up the different defensive effects like Scowl, the attack debuff of Vengeful Fighter, and also the breath effect and follow-up negation effect. And if you're an infantry dragon and if you have Halloween male Korin, then you can run Dragon's Ire 4, but you can also stack up the damage reduction by running Dragon Wall in the slot bay. And I do think that we're probably going to be getting the tier 4 version of Dragon Wall in 2024 because it is available on a 4-star focus seasonal. So whenever that tier 4 version of Dragon Wall comes out, it is going to be good on these high attack dragons who can get that flat damage reduction and also the guard effect out of this weapon. Overall, female Kana is going to be a really solid free-to-play unit, and it's not often that we get a dragon in the Grail pool, and even less so when it comes to a blue infantry unit. and she can also score as if she is 200 BST in Arena at max. So she's gonna be a pretty good free-to-play scoring option. And if you lack a blue unit in your Arena core, then she could be the blue unit of choice because she can run a lot of the dragon skills and also run distant counter dragon. And now that we have got distant counter melee, you can basically have 2 units use distant counter sacred seals without really much of a trouble. So she's not going to be the highest of the scoring options when it comes to free-to-play units because unfortunately she lacks a preferred weapon, but still is going to be putting her in the second highest tier for the scoring. And if you're going to be building up someone like Farkas, then he's going to be scoring more because of having a preferred weapon and also having access to the new distant counter melee sacred seal. Kana also comes with a pretty nice inedible weapon that can function on a budget, so you don't really need to give her an arcane weapon immediately unless we get an insanely good arcane breath in the future. Still, she doesn't really have a preferred weapon or a preferred skill, so in the long run it could be a bit troublesome to stand out. But seeing the track record, we haven't really got too many free-to-play dragons, so it's not like she's going to be having much of a competition from the looks of it. If you're just going to be using newer female Kana as a budget option for something like limited battles or Tempest Trial, then you can give her attack speed form from a 4-star Inigo, or even a lot of the combat manuals that we have gotten that do have the skill, so it could be run in her slotty and then you can refine her weapon. Glimmer is still a pretty good special, and you can just run distant counter dragon sacred seal so that you can take care of the range foes. But if you're going to be investing in her with the merges, then you can still make a decent build with her default weapon and also the skills that you can get from divine codes. And like I said before, flat damage reduction is really good with the regular damage reduction because the regular damage reduction is going to be counted first, and then whatever is going to be left is going to be reduced by the flat damage reduction. So you can get that from Dragon Strat 4 if you have it. It's no counter war 4, but still it's an option that you can run if you don't really have access to that kind of premium skill. And if you're going to be heavily investing into newer female Kana, then there are going to be other options that you can run as her weapon. So we do have the Dragon Breath of newer male Kana in Dragonstone Plus, and it is pretty much the same weapon, but it has got null follow-up instead of the guard effect, and it also gives you 20% flat damage reduction based on your speed on foes' first attacks. So the scaling is a bit better, and it also takes your speed into the account. Arcane Grima is also going to be there, and the main highlight of this weapon is definitely going to be the minus on special cooldown and the true damage and the post-combat healing you can get out of it. Even though this is an arcane weapon, it is still kind of old at this point, and I personally do think that for newer female Kana, Dragonstone Plus is a better weapon because flat damage reduction is really good, and getting null follow-up on top of that is even better. Even though null follow-up is kind of easy to outsource nowadays, still having it built in your weapon is good. Dragonstone Plus is going to be giving you more of a defensive effect, whereas Arcane Grima is mainly for doing a lot more damage. It doesn't really give you any kind of damage reduction, and having flat damage reduction that is unpierceable is something that I prefer having whatever Arcane Grima can provide. Now we can get another Dragon Breath that is specialized for fast dragons. In that case, if that breath ends up being a lot better, then it is also going to be an option in the future. And whenever it comes out, I'll be covering that. But basically, you can try and run Dragonstone Plus, and it's not going to be the hardest weapon to get because male Kana is a 4-star focus on the newer banner. Male Kana's weapon does have a bit better scaling than female Kana's weapon because it is going to be taking 20% of your speed, while female Kana's weapon takes 15% of your attack. And as you can see, it is going to be slightly better because it gives you more flat damage reduction. And if you're going to be running it, then you can try and run the best sloppy skill for newer female Kana in Counter Roar 4. So this is an extremely stacked skill because it can debuff the foe for -4 attack and speed, and it also has 30% damage reduction including the brave hits, and this is going to be really good with the flat damage reduction, and it also has the damage reflection. So you can reflect back the reduced damage from Counter Roar 4, and then after the combat it is going to be giving you 7 HP healing, which is really good when you stack it up with Finish Skill because Finish Skill is going to be giving you that in combat healing, and it also gives you the true damage whenever you trigger your special. And a Pledge skill is going to be the perfect thing for her Slotsy, as you can retaliate back with Glimmer. If you don't really have this Slotsy skill, then you can still provide her with any kind of special cooldown support and run something else in her Slotsy like Speed Smoke 4 so that you can stack up even more damage reduction. And if you're going to be going for the max investment, then Bonus Doubler 4 could be one of the options because the Distant Counter Sacred Seal does open that up and you can fully buff her up and stack up a lot of stats. And Panic Smoke 4 is also going to be helping you with the foe penalty doubler effect, and Counter Roar 4 is again going to be the best lobby skill that you can run on her as of making this video. And you can even give her the Attack Oath Echo attune skill because it is going to be having good synergy with bonus doubler 4. You can also give her Arcane Grima if you want to get the special charges without running the Pled Slotsy skill. So you can retaliate back with Icebergs, which is something that you can only do with Dragonstone Plus unless you give her Rally Spectrum support. So it is going to be stacking up the true damage, and also you can get 14 HP healing after the combat, and you have in combat healing with the finish skill. You can also run her with a Tempo 4 skill in the slot bay along with a Pled Slotsy skill. Both of these do have really good synergy, and already the null follow-up is going to be present in the weapon. So whenever it comes out in future, it could be a good option for her slot bay because it is going to be also giving you that damage reduction piercing against the foes, which is going to be really helpful in the metagame right now because a lot of nukes have crazy amounts of damage reduction. So piercing it through your own skill is helpful. And if you stack up Legendary Camilla's damage reduction piercing status, then you can get the 75% damage reduction piercing on the foes. So it could be helpful in killing a lot of nukes, but unfortunately it is not going to be having a lot of damage reduction unless you decide to outsource it through Rock Slide Dance 3 or Attune Peenie's Dance. Arena is going to be one of the main competitive game modes for newer female Kana, and that's what a lot of people are going to be building her up for. So you can try and use Blue Flame as your special because dragons cannot have access to Ruptured Sky unfortunately, and this is pretty much going to be the best low cooldown special that you can run. You can also run Attack Speed Unity in her slot A in case you face any kind of debuffs or panic effects, which is going to be working well with the Attack Speed Oath 4 buff for attracting any of those attack and speed based debuffs. And again, a spare copy of Brave Female Korin is going to be helping you quite a lot with your female Kana. I do like male Kana's weapon a lot more because it is going to be giving you that full null follow-up, and I do think that having the full null follow-up is a lot better in Arena than having the guard effect because a lot of units can have null guard effect, so I do value null follow-up a bit more for Arena purpose. But you can also run her with Infantry null follow-up 4 in her slot C, so this enables her to support her allies with the null follow-up status, and also this is going to be giving you the null follow-up status and the order status. So you can run Arcane Grima and have Blue Flame as the 2 cooldown special that you can retaliate back with. So you're going to be trading off the flat damage reduction for having much better special retaliations, and you can also support your allies. And female Kana does have a resistance stat that could be worked out for running something like a Ploy skill and even a Scout skill in the slot A. So with the guard effect of New Sun Stone Plus and the Scowl effect and the Tempo effect, it is going to be really hard for the enemies to charge up their specials because Tempo effect with the guard effect is going to be making it so that unless the opponent has null guard, they're not going to be charging their specials. And even if they have special accelerating skills, the Tempo skill is going to be taking care of it. So it can be a good slot B option that can help you pierce the damage reduction of the enemies. And then Speed Resistance Ploy whenever it happens is also going to be a good skill so that you can inflict the enemy with the exposure status and also the Ploy status, which is going to be helping you especially in the Earth season where you might be facing a lot of Legendary Male Robins, or in the Wind season if you face Legendary Ellywoods there. So it's a pretty nice supportive effect that Kana herself also appreciates having. And having a Scowl effect can help you against the enemies that heavily rely on their specials and things like Special Spiral 4. Make sure to share this video with your friends if they're thinking of building up newer female Kana, and I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, then make sure to leave a like and a comment, helps you tremendously. And if you really enjoyed, you could always support me directly by using super thanks down below or by becoming a YouTube member. And for more free videos, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell because YouTube sub boxes take as much time as the free-to-play dragons to show up. So with that said, I'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.